The last thing Daniel expected when he opened his bank account was to see a number so large that he thought his phone had malfunctioned. 200,000. He stared at the screen. Then he refreshed it. The number remained. $200 billion. Daniel was a single father who had spent the last 3 years counting every dollar. That morning, he had exactly $2 in his wallet. His daughter, Lily, needed new shoes. He had promised her they would buy them after his next paycheck. Then his lawyer called. "Mr. Carter, you need to come to my office immediately." Daniel arrived carrying Lily's worn backpack. The lawyer placed a thick folder on the desk. "Your uncle's estate has been finalized." "My uncle?" Daniel barely remembered him. The man had disappeared from the family when Daniel was young. "What does that have to do with me?" The lawyer took a breath. "Everything." He turned the folder around. Daniel read the first page. His uncle had built a global investment empire, and Daniel was the sole beneficiary. Daniel laughed nervously. "This has to be a mistake." "It isn't." "How much?" The lawyer looked directly at him. "Approximately $200 billion. Daniel stared at him. For several seconds, nobody spoke. Then Lily whispered, "Daddy, are we rich now?" Daniel looked at her. "I don't know, sweetheart." The lawyer smiled. "You are." But Daniel didn't celebrate. His first thought was his daughter. His second thought was the woman who had once told him he would never amount to anything. His ex-wife, Vanessa. She had left Daniel after he lost his job and struggled to keep up with their bills. Before walking away, she had thrown $2 onto the kitchen table. "You're useless trash," she'd said. "Don't call me when you're desperate." Daniel had never forgotten those words. That evening, Vanessa unexpectedly called. "I heard Lily needs new shoes." Daniel froze. "How did you hear that?" "A mutual friend." She sounded unusually kind. "Maybe we should talk." Daniel remained silent. "You know," she continued, "I always believed you could become something." Daniel almost laughed. The same woman who had called him trash was suddenly interested in his life. "Why are you calling?" "I want to see Lily." Daniel looked at his daughter. "Not tonight." Vanessa's voice changed. "Daniel, don't make this difficult." "I said no." She hung up. The next morning, Daniel's lawyer warned him, "Your inheritance has become public." Daniel frowned. "How?" "We're investigating." Within hours, reporters gathered outside his building. Daniel stayed inside with Lily. Then Vanessa arrived. She walked through the crowd wearing an expensive dress and smiling for cameras. When she saw Daniel, she immediately changed her expression. "Daniel, please don't embarrass yourself." He looked at her. "You shouldn't be here." "I came for Lily." "You came because you heard." "About the money." Her face tightened. "You think you're better than me now?" "No." Daniel calmly opened his wallet. Inside was the same $2 bill Vanessa had left behind years ago. "I kept this." She stared at it. "You kept $2? "To remember how it felt when I had nothing." Vanessa laughed. "You still have nothing. Money doesn't change who you are." Daniel smiled. "No, but it changes what I can protect." He turned toward Lily. "Let's go." Vanessa grabbed his arm. "You owe me." Daniel stopped. "For what?" "I was your wife." "You left." I was angry. "You called me useless trash." She went silent. Daniel's lawyer stepped forward. "Mrs. Carter, Mr. Carter has no financial obligation to you." Vanessa's expression darkened. "You'll regret this." Daniel didn't respond. But later that night, he discovered something that made his blood run cold. His uncle hadn't simply left him $200 billion. The inheritance included controlling ownership of hundreds of companies. And one of those companies had been secretly investigating Vanessa for years. Daniel opened the file. There were bank transfers, fake invoices, hidden accounts, and one photograph, Vanessa standing beside Daniel's uncle. Daniel stared at it. His uncle had met Vanessa before Daniel ever married her. Then he found a handwritten note. "Daniel, if Vanessa ever discovers your inheritance, she will try to take everything. Do not trust her." Daniel's hands trembled. His uncle had known. But there was another page. "There is one final truth. Lily is not Vanessa's biological daughter." Daniel couldn't breathe. He immediately ordered a private DNA test. 3 days later, the results arrived. Daniel was Lily's biological father. Vanessa wasn't. The woman who had raised Lily had been hiding the truth. Daniel confronted Vanessa. She broke down. I was afraid you'd take her away. Who is Lily's mother? Vanessa cried. I don't know. Daniel stared at her. Then why did you stay? Because your uncle paid me. Daniel's heart stopped. How much? Enough to disappear. Why would he pay you? Vanessa looked at him. Because Lily was the reason he left you everything. Daniel felt dizzy. What does that mean? Vanessa whispered the final truth. Lily is the heir he was protecting. Suddenly, Daniel understood. The $200 billion wasn't a reward. It was protection. Someone had been trying to reach Lily for years. Daniel picked up his daughter and held her tightly. That night, he transferred most of the fortune into a trust for Lily. He kept only enough to build a secure future. Vanessa eventually faced the consequences of her deception. Daniel never called her useless. He simply walked away. Years later, Lily asked him about the $2 bill framed above his desk. Daniel smiled. That money reminds me where we started. She looked at the enormous office around them. Dad, you had nothing. Daniel shook his head. No, sweetheart, I had you. And that was the one thing the $200 billion could never buy.